Hi, can I ask you a question? Hi, can I ask you a question? Do you know what I am? Do you know what I am? I'm a cluster bomb, which is an internationally banned weapon. Mitsubishi UFJ, who's based in this building, invests in cluster bomb producers. What do you think about that?
That's good. We invest in bombs.
Cluster munitions are an internationally banned weapon. They are banned under the 2008 Convention on Cluster Munitions, and they are banned because they don't discriminate between civilians and military. And oftentimes they fail to work as functioned, so submunitions often don't explode and they get left behind unexploded and become de facto landmines.
Unexploded submunitions cause a problem for days, months, years, even decades after a conflict has ended, and it's civilians that bear the brunt.
Do you know that Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group invests in producers of cluster bombs?
Do they?
Yes, and cluster bombs are indiscriminate weapons. 94% of victims are civilians, and they're currently being used in Syria and Ukraine. So we're just raising awareness of the finance.
I'll have a word with my manager when I get
That would be great.
The 2008 Convention on Cluster Munitions bans the use, production, stockpiling and transfer of the weapon. It also mandates clearance of contaminated areas and support to victims of the weapon. Under Article 1.1c of the Convention, assistance in all of these prohibited acts is banned, and we see the investment in cluster munitions as assistance in production of this weapon.
The countries that have joined the convention have committed themselves not to use nor produce these weapons, but the cluster munitions continue to be produced by companies in countries that have not joined the convention. And our campaign is about ending explosive investments, so we aim to stop financial institutions from investing in companies that produce these prohibited weapons.
Were you aware that Aberdeen Asset Management invests in producers of cluster bombs?
I was unaware of that.
Yes. We have a report, Worldwide Investments in Cluster Munitions, and we rank all of the financial institutions depending on whether or not they invest in cluster bombs or not. So we have the Hall of Shame and the Hall of Fame.
In our report, Hall of Shame, there are 151 global financial institutions that are listed for their investments in cluster munition producers. Financial institutions worldwide are still investing $27 billion in producers of cluster munitions. We see of our 151 financial institutions in the Hall of Shame, there are 22 financial institutions from 8 countries that have joined the convention. And the countries are Australia, Canada, Germany, France, Japan, Spain, Switzerland and the UK.
The only sure way to end this practice is by introducing legislation. So we're asking countries, the UK, France, Germany, Australia, Japan and others that have outlawed this weapon to ensure that investment in cluster munitions, which is assistance in the production of cluster munitions, is outlawed in these countries. The global stigma against this weapon is strong, yet we're still seeing some use in countries that have not yet joined the global ban, right now in Syria and in Ukraine, and the results are devastating.
Так, и начали бух-бух-бух сыпаться. Они оттуда начали лететь, сыпаться, и вот так пошло.
So positive news is that the group of financial institutions with policies in place banning these types of investments is growing and producers are starting to feel the pressure. We have 76 financial institutions in our best practices part of the report, which means that they have taken their responsibilities and they have put in place policies banning investments in cluster munition producers.
Why would any financial institution or bank choose to be associated with the production of this banned weapon?
If we decided to ban cluster munitions, why do we allow investments in companies that make this weapon?